Okay, everyone. So welcome to our first class, week one. We'll be focusing today on the kidney and the urinary bladder. And just a little chat about what we're going to be doing and where we're working. So essentially, as most of us know, the YIN practice is based on Chinese medicine, kind of meridians, and we use the poses to kind of target those meridians in the body. So we're working first with the kidney. So it's like really deep in the inner lines of the legs. And then that's the meridian, like all the way up to the inner line of the leg. And then it's pair, the urinary bladder channel. So it's pretty much the entire back of the body, right? From the eyes all the way up and over the top of the head, down the spine, and all the way down into your feet. So that's the bladder channel. This is seen as like the deepest and densest vibration of energy in the body. Like it affects the bones, and to access that energy, it's like we just need more time in stillness. So oftentimes when we do these, we're in this theme and we're going into this layer, we're just in poses for a little bit longer. So expect kind of long holds in today's class. And if it doesn't feel right in your body and you need to kind of mix that up, of course, give yourself time to kind of come up and adjust the pose, give yourself a moment. If you need to adjust and give yourself more props to make it more comfortable, feel free to do that at any point as well. Today's class, I thought I'd bring in some like vagal techniques because the vagus nerve is so connected to the adrenals, to a lot of the concepts that we speak about when we're talking about the energy of the kidney and the urinary bladder, like deep, like chronic stress and shock and trauma, and the way that that's held within the body. Vagal techniques are like so immediately shifting for our nervous system, right? So these are things that we can use off of the mat at any point of our day to bring us out of a state of stress. The vagus nerve, the access points for the vagus nerve are around your ears and down through the SCM, right? Because it kind of travels from the base of your skull, and then it has these nerves that kind of go down into all the organs of the body. But we can really access them through your neck. So we'll be doing a little bit of neck stretching. We'll be doing some humming, all of those things. Access and tone the vagal nerve and are deeply relaxing and shifting for the nervous system. So I think that would be relevant for today's class. We're going to actually get started in a seat. So let's just come up to a sitting position. You can press play on your playlist if you haven't already, and we'll get started there. Okay, so sitting up on your bolster and just ensuring that you have some blocks close by. Okay. If I'm like not in view, can someone unmute yourself and let me know if this is all good? Otherwise, we're going to get ready to go. Okay, cool. So just find a comfortable seat. So Sukhasana just simply means a sweet feeling seating position. And coming up, finding that for yourself. Sometimes this position just requires a little bit of shifting, a bit of side to side movement. So just feeling that in for yourself, like just whatever you need to do there to find a width in the base of the body. Okay. So with exhales, we just start to feel here that the shoulders are melting away from the ears. There's a beautiful heaviness in the muscles as they start to fall away from the bones. And we're feeling into whatever is in contact with the bolster or the floor begins to spread. Let's start with palms facing down, and we'll just bring a mudra of the thumb and the index finger together with the palms facing down. So noticing here if there's any tension held within your face, around your eyes, lips, begin to soften there. We anchor ourselves in space and time. to here in practice. The practice begins. We consciously unhook from anything that's outside of this space. So creating this energetic shala, acknowledging the walls of your own room around you. The space below you, the solid force below us that holds the body. We allow ourselves to soften into that. We acknowledge the safety of this container. And within that, the permission to let go, to soften, and to be fully present. So we'll start with a few breaths together. So we'll start with an exhale that softens the belly, feeling the pit of the belly relax. And then as we inhale, we fill up fully. So we're filling the belly up with air, front, back, and sides, expanding even back into the kidneys. And then we take one more little sip at the top and we hold the breath for a moment. And then with exhale, we'll part the lips and feel the breath softly leave the body. Emptying the lungs entirely. And then taking another belly breath. So the breath bypasses the chest and fills up the belly. The kidneys swell. We take one more little sip. And we hold the breath with the shoulders soft, no tension in the face, just for 3. Good for 2. And then parting the lips and exhaling, the breath leaves the body. And with each round, we're feeling the body feel gradually more at ease, 5% more relaxed. Let's do 3 more on your own. This is a really powerful tool for the nervous system, and hopefully we start to feel that even within a couple breaths. Last 2 on your own. When you're done with your last breath, we'll have just a few moments of sensing into the spine. So when we do this, we want to visualize like you're underwater. So that's like an effortless type shape where you might even sense a piece, like a bit of movement in the body. You can imagine yourself like a piece of seaweed, right? It's really effortless. There's no rigidity held within the spine. Any energy in the head is dissolving down and saturating the feeling body. Jaw relaxing. The base of the tongue feels wide and soft. Get started for our first shape. So we'll stay suspended here on the bolster and let's just shift our weight back so we can slide your feet forward. This one will bring blocks out in front of you. It's sometimes nice here to put the blocks between your feet. There's many different ways of modifying this position. If this doesn't work for your ankles, for example, you can always do this with one leg stretched out if it doesn't work for one of your joints, but essentially it's an extended butterfly, right? So it's that nice wide open angle from your knee. It's different than Baddha Konasana where we'd have the heels really close to the bolster, right? So we're gonna slide the feet a bit further forward. I'm just gonna start with a big block stack. If you're using a bolster or a cushion from home, you want to feel as though the bum is being pulled back and you're about to kind of slide forward. So that helps. It assists with this pelvic tilting. Yeah. And then let's bring our hands down to just the space below your knees and we'll find a bit of spinal movement. So as you inhale, you're using your hands and pulling the body forward. So the chest rises up through your arms. And we take a big breath in, even the chin lifts up to the sky. And then the movement starts from the pelvis. So we start to fold back into ourselves and pull away from your knees. So we're round. It's just like a cat-cow shape. Yeah, just like cat-cow, rounding in, pulling in, and then inhaling and coming all the way back through. So huge breath in, opening up, chest lifts, heart lifts. And then use your own breath. So the eyes close down and you allow your own breath to lead you through the spinal movement, rounding and pulling away from the shins. If you were to let go, you'd fling back. Right, chin all the way in. Yep. And then inhale. And then with your exhale, we're going to hold that shape where we're leaning back. So the chin comes right down onto your chest. Yep. All the way in. Again, if you were to let go here, you would fall backwards. Chin all the way in. We should feel that neural stretch coming down the back of the spine. Yep. You can just turn your head really gently to the left. Take a couple moments there with the left cheek over towards the left shoulder. And then down, chin rolls down across the chest and over to the right. And again, we just hold here for a moment until we can feel that stretch down the left side of the neck, the length of the spine. The more that you tuck, the more that you pull back, the stronger that is. Okay, and then we come back through center, just a final exhale to neutralize here in the middle, chin in, pulling back. Big breath out. And then we use our hands and we lead with the chest forward. So we want to get as long as we can in the chest and the heart, the spine. So opening up and then using that to fold forward. So we come down slowly and come down with some support with your head on the blocks. You can add a third block, I always say, with your elbows up here. If we don't have blocks, you can suspend your elbows on your knees and hold your head. But we're finding some way that the body feels supported. It's really important in yin yoga that we're not just hanging the body in space. Anytime we're in yin yoga, we're attempting to lengthen out the exhale. As we're in these poses, finding a gesture of the hands that's passive. Perhaps you're turning your hands up. The fingertips just naturally curling back towards the palms. Inside each shape, we're looking to go deeper inside. So falling away from the surface of the skin. Let's attempt to land our awareness in the pit of the belly and watch from the inside the breath coming in. Seeing from the inside this receiving of breath, big expansion of the inner body. And then watching breath leave. Noticing what it feels like to be the observer, to witness, to watch. You might have a little bit more space in your body if you'd like to change your props here. Perhaps you're changing the block position. We have 1 more minute here. There's a sacred moment right at the end of exhale where the breath is still right before it turns back into an inhale. Let's see if we can be with that moment of stillness, of in between. As we begin to observe that pause, perhaps it lengthens a little bit for the last 4 breaths. Taking your final exhale there. And when we come out of these poses, we do so slowly. So let's take our time just to turn the palms down. And then one by one, patting your hands up your legs, and really slowly making your way up to a seat. And before we move, let's see if it's possible just to turn the palms to face up and find a neutral spine position where the head floats up above the heart and the heart above the pelvis. Take a big breath in the space above your head, and then allow the breath, imagine the breath is pouring down through the body, pooling in your pelvis. Just do that one more time, a big breath. Breath pours down through the body. So we'll place our hands just down on the bolster and let's slide the feet to the mat, taking your feet as wide as the mat and just allowing here your knees to drop to the left. Knees drop to the left. Yeah, a little windscreen there. And then knees drop to the right. That was a long time in external rotation. So we see if we can drop like the right knee down to the floor as the knees move to the left. Yeah, all the way down, bit of internal rotation. The next time that legs come over towards the right side, lean forward and hold your legs like that. So the left knee is reaching down towards the floor and I'm leaning forward, and you'll feel that. That's an internal hip release just for a couple moments. Yeah. And then we come back through center and we'll drop the right knee down. Doesn't need to come all the way to the floor. It's really common to have one side that feels a bit more open than the other. But again, we just lean forward to intensify that stretch. Big breath out. Okay. We're going to come up to a seat and find again Sukhasana here. I might turn to face you because it will be easier to see what's going on. In this position, we will be releasing through the SCM, so these muscles here on the side of the neck. To do this, we're going to drop the head over to the right. Yep. Take your hands, cross at the wrist, and bring your hands to your opposite jawline. We often do this to the front, if you've been to my class before, but this is a similar type of stretch, this fascial stretch, but down here on the side, so we can access that SCM muscle. So the chin starts down towards your shoulder, and as we reach the chin up, your hands will drag down in the opposite direction. So anytime we do this fascial stretching, right, you want to use your fingers, even the skin of the palms, to grab some fascia and anchor down. The chin reaches up in the opposite direction, kind of anchoring down around your collarbone. The chin reaches up. Now you can open your mouth and close your mouth, which again will pull there on that muscle. Good. And if you've like lost the grip there, that pulling sensation, just start again. Just crawl your fingertips up around your ear and then slide down and reach your chin up. Okay. And then both hands come down, anchoring around the collarbone. And we're just going to slide your head back up to neutral and allow your hands to float down to your knees. Just have a moment there feeling the difference between the right and left side. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So the head tips in the opposite direction. The hands come up, we're going to cross at the wrist and bring your fingertips to your jawline. Mostly here, you just want to use a lot of your hands. So like give yourself a little massage, like get right in there. You can rub behind your ears. Even rubbing behind your ears is an incredible vagal release, right? So any way that we can make contact with the space around your ears, behind your ear, that's great. So use your hands and like really get in there. Yeah. As we slide down, the more traction you can create with your own palms on your neck, the better, right? Because we're pulling fascially, that's going to help us release there through the SCM. We anchor down, right? The head looks up in the opposite direction. Very funny looking stretch, but it feels so good. And then you can open and close your mouth. If you've done it correctly, you'll feel a greater pull when you open your mouth. Close again. Good. And then we'll slowly make our way back to center. So the head comes back into neutral. We're sliding the hands down around that collarbone. And then we'll have a moment of just observing. Shifting the nervous system has a real felt sense to it. So sensing into that shift for you. The whole spine feeling wide and soft from the inside out. An openness of the mind, ease of the body. Finish that up just with one of our physiological sighs, one of those deep belly breaths. So we'll start with an exhale to clear. We take a deep breath in and we feel the belly, front, back, and sides. And we take one more little sip. And we hold the breath for a moment. And parting your lips and exhaling, letting breath go. Bring your hands together and we'll rub the palms. Okay, and before we get into ours, so just keep rubbing and adding some chi into the hand. And then we'll bring these warm hands and cover your kidneys. We're going to reach the hands back and hold the low back and breathe that warmth, that chi into the kidneys themselves. And as we hold this area of the back, just observing, what does it feel like there? Is it cold? Does it feel stiff? Does it feel overworked? Does it feel supported or supple? And the kidneys and the hands do this little dance. We breathe the warmth of the hands into the kidneys. And we connect with the kidney energy as the kidneys breathe back into the palms. And we'll just do that 3 more times. Blinking your eyes open, and we'll make our way into our next shape. So just gonna slide our hips back on the back side of the bolster into caterpillar. So the bolster then supports the underside of your knees. And this makes the hamstring stretch a lot more accessible, right? So once we're here, again, we're just gonna feel into the length of the front of the body. And you're welcome to sit as long as you'd like in this first shape. Of course, we always take our time before coming in and coming out of poses. So whenever it feels right for you, we'll start to lean forward. Yeah. So finding again that support of something beneath your head, whether that's your hands stacked up on blocks there, elbows on blocks, heels of the hands covering your eyes. This one will be quite a long hold. So if you'd like to start really gently and invite that, and just slowly allow your body to melt into the depth of the shape. Within each pose, we start this process of again spiraling back inside, consciously letting go of anything that exists outside of your skin. And using the exhale to spiral down, seeing if you can find the deepest place within yourself at the bottom of exhale. This point is often called the Madhya point. A doorway to infinite space, very center of the body. Another way that this place inside is described is the eye of your own storm. A point in the center of all the chaos, all the movement, all the mind space that's eternally still and eternally satisfied. You might be able to decrease your support at this point, removing something that's holding you and softening into that extra space in the body. Maybe you need to come up and give yourself a moment's break. You have another minute in the shape. For those of you that have a lot of space in the body, you could interlace your fingers, remove whatever is underneath your head, and place your hands behind your head. This again is that neural stretch. It's probably not for everyone, it's very strong. Yep, so chin comes in, the elbows droop down by the floor, right? And there's this extra pressure on the back of the head. You will feel that all the way down the backs of the legs, the entire urinary bladder channel. You might choose to point and flex your feet. So for all of us, let's try to do this, just pointing your toes, holding that for a moment, wherever you are, and then deeply flexing your feet. So drawing your toes back up towards your shins. Big breaths out there. Last two breaths in the pose, we have a rebound or a shavasana. Just at the end of those two breaths. We come up really slowly out of that position, climbing up so slowly. And again, let's just find that moment of a vertical spine, allowing yourself to neutralize with the head eclipsed above the heart, above the pelvis. A couple breaths that flash down through the body. Breath pooling like water in the pelvis. And whenever you're ready, we're just sliding the bolster slightly forward if that's still below your knees, and we'll come down to lay on your back for a few moments. Drawing the chin gently in, observing the back of the head, the backs of the hands, and the heels anchored on the floor. you quiet your mind down in this moment, seeing if you can sense into that internal thrumming, this beautiful aliveness pulsating from your bones. As you lay in that position on your back, visualize your whole skeleton, your skull, the vertebrae of your neck, the delicate bones of your scapula, upper arm bones, and the forearms. Tiny bones and of your hands, all the way out to your fingertips. The length of the spine, the dense bones of your pelvis, the weight of your pelvis on the floor, the sacrum, the long bones of your upper legs, your floating kneecaps, and the space of the joints, the shin bones, the circular bones of your ankles, those tiny bones in your feet. And then we sense into the skeleton, all the bones all together, the incredible wisdom of the bones. It's very deep ancestral knowledge that we carry inside of the body. Deep breath in. And take one more little sip, noticing the belly swollen with breath. And then part your lips and let that go. Let's place the feet down onto the floor. So we're going to bend the knees a little bit and reach down and slide the cushion or your bolster underneath your hips. So you're laying on your back. Right, we have bent knees, the feet on the floor. We're coming up towards a bridge-like shape. Just to begin with here, let's allow the knees to drop from side to side. A little massage there for your low back. Okay, so for our next pose, we're coming into happy baby. So let's draw the knees up. Yeah, there's a few different ways of doing this pose, right? So if you have a lot of space, for yin, I like to grab a hold of the inside of the feet, right? So happy baby, the knees drop on the outside of your rib cage, and then we're finding just an effortless shape for your hands. So if you have a lot of flexibility, it might feel really natural for you just to place your fingers on the inside of your feet. If that doesn't work, there's a little monkey grab that you can do. So it's like you just hook your elbows behind your knees and clasp your hands, right? That's a really nice option. For some people, this is not a comfortable shape, and you could replace this pose with something like frog, right? So the knees kind of just hover out to the side. Yep, and we place the hands on the inside of the legs. Or you can just come into an inversion here with the knees slightly bent and the feet up like the Parita Karani. So there's a few different options. I know for happy baby, some of us don't love that pose. So please replace it if it's not for you, right? So you hands on the inside of the feet, clasped hands, knees down on the outsides of the ribs, and then making those modifications if you need to there. With this pose, let's visualize the breath really sliding down and tracing the perimeter of the kidneys with each breath. And feeling the kidneys, that organ, this energetic space of the low back, soften with every breath out. Beautiful butterfly shaped organ there. Noticing that the feet, the soles of the feet feel wide and soft. And for some people, this pose has a lot of sensation, a lot of density around the hips. Again, we find that perspective of the observer, and we simply watch this very subtle, slow unraveling that happens. Observing complete effortlessness. There's such a sweetness when we relinquish control. With that, allow that to be reflected in your face. Most subtle smile, softness behind your eyes. Shambhavi Mudra, gesture of peace. Last 4 breaths here. Okay, when that last breath is done for you, let's just see if you are still in that happy baby shape or if your legs are up and overhead. Just gently draw your knees together, right? Use your hands, support the legs, draw the legs in. Good. You might give yourself that little squeeze and rock really subtly from side to side. The inner thighs melting back down towards the pelvis. For our next shape, we'll just place one foot at a time down to the floor. All right. Have a moment there of just knocking your knees in. Knock your knees in and bring your feet wide. Yes. Allowing your hands to land in any comfortable shape. So for our next shape, just remember you can always come back to this position, right? If we sense, a pulling in the low back or anything that's uncomfortable, okay? If you are moving on, you're going to lengthen out your legs one at a time, okay? The feet as wide as the mat. The hands can reach up and overhead. All right, in this kind of assisted extension of the spine. If you feel that pull at all, right, in your low back, then first you can bring the soles of the feet together. That's a nice modification. Or you can do that pose that we were just doing with the knees together and the feet wide. In this pose, we come back to that noticing of internal strumming to really quiet the mind and listen. Sensing this pulsation originating in your bones and pulsating all the way out to the surface of the skin and beyond, as though this pulsation could pulsate in the space around the body. The edges of you blurring. It's really an illusion that we end at the barrier of our skin. So I'll offer another little vagal technique here. So if you're laying on your back, you'll just slide your index finger down and place your index finger so it's just in like the hollow on the inside of your ear, which I can't really do because I have headphones in, but maybe I'll come up here and show you. So essentially, you'd slide just the index finger down, place it just on the inside of the ear there, and draw down. So the action of the fingers of the hands is moving down. This has a real feel to it pretty immediately. So we're popping just the index finger there, just inside of the earlobe, not inside the ear, right? Just inside the earlobe, and then drawing the earlobe down. And you can do that with both hands. And feeling that whole area around the ears softening there, even on the inside of the throat, wide and soft. And just take 2 more breaths wherever you are. But if you have your hands in your ears, let's just give ourselves that big stretch. We're going to reach all the way up and overhead, stretching the fingertips, long, toes long. And then from here, let's slide the feet down to the mat. And again, just a little side to side if you were in that long-legged position, just allowing the legs to drop a little bit there, left to right. And let's lift the hips up. And we'll slide the bolster out from underneath you. It's going to bring the hips down to the floor and slide over to the side as you come into fetal pose. So you might slide the bolster between your legs in fetal pose if that's nice for you, coming over to one side. You might rest your head there on your bicep. We're going to press the floor away and make our way up to a seat. So we're going to be doing a wide-legged forward fold. So you might choose to orientate yourself a little bit differently on your mat. I like to sit up on something. So whether you're sitting up on a folded blanket, for example, or if you have a lot of space, maybe you're sitting up on your bolster and going to be using just the blocks for support. If you're someone that's a bit tighter, a really nice way of doing this is using this bolster on a wedge shape, so like this. So there's going to be so many different ways of doing a wide-legged forward fold, and we all have different levels of space in the body to do that. So what I invite you to do over the next kind of little bit is just to find the variation of this pose that is going to work from you. And remember that this is a long hold, so it's going to look different than something that perhaps you do in a vinyasa class. So what I'm choosing to do is just have the bolster like behind me so that I can feel something there. That might be a block for you, right behind your hips. That might be just a folded blanket and then something in front of you. And like I said, this is going to look so different for everyone, but essentially we want to find something that you feel like you can be in passively. Also different probably than other styles of practice. We don't have to worry so much about how the feet are. Like we're not pressing the feet out. Essentially, we're just allowing the body to fold in this really natural way. Forward folds, wide-legged forward folds are a really beautiful opportunity to practice non-judgment, being in observation, noticing sensation without reacting to it. The breath technique that I find really helpful in this pose is visualizing the breath originating in your feet and traveling up the inner lines of the legs and into the pelvis, and then exhaling all the way down through the inner seam of the legs and out of the feet. And just bringing this very deep channel, lots of chi. And with every exhale, we're visualizing that whole area feeling more hydrated, more supple. Be in this pose a little bit longer today. So if you need to give yourself a moment to reset or change your props at all, do that. The gesture of peace in your face, soft eyes, soft mouth, very corners of the mouth turning. Long, slow exhales with a gentle pause at the end. Mind and breath suspended. One of our very last poses of practice. Take 4 more exhales here. Okay. That was a very long hold. Now we're going to come up so slowly out of that shape. So let's place the hands down and then pad your hands along the floor and make your way up so slowly to that vertical spine. And let's just see if we can have a moment there in a vertical spine without changing anything at all. The lower jaw drops down. There's a hollowness in your mouth. We're going to blink the eyes open slowly and use your hands to draw the legs back together. And before we come down onto your back, let's just close the legs in and round in. Yep, and make yourself into this little bowl shape. So you might choose to close your eyes and place your eyes on your knees or your eyes on your hands and just creating darkness there fully so the eyes have this opportunity to relax and fall away from the surface of the eyelids. The eyes themselves and all that musculature that suspends the eyes in space softens with this pressure of your hands or the knees. Little rock there. And then when you're ready, we'll get set up for final rest of Shavasana. So we use the bolster underneath your knees. That's probably what I recommend. If you have a cushion there, using that, a blanket to cover the body, something to cover your eyes, if you have that. And then coming down to rest, right, in Shavasana. It's so important to set up your Shavasana with all the things and making sure that you're supremely comfortable laying on the floor before we choose to be in stillness. I'll go there with you. Yeah. Beautiful. Palms turning up by your side. We're feeling into those 5 points, backs of the hands, backs of the ankles, the back of the head, weighted onto the floor. And before we drop into our final Shavasana, silence, we'll do our final technique of this vagal release, which is humming. This is one of the most effective tools that we can bring off of the mat. So when we practice humming, we want to practice the H sound rather than so much of the M. The M has this higher vibration. The H is what vibrates down through more of the organ bodies. So we'll just do that like as we breathe in. It doesn't need to be a loud sound. And you'll continue this hum for yourself. What I'd recommend doing is visualizing that vibration moving from your lips, inside of your mouth, down through your throat, and then down, like reverberating softly down through the organ bodies themselves. You can continue the hum for as long as feels good for you. This is one of the most intuitive forms of healing, of self-soothing. If you'd like to rest in Shavasana, I really invite you to stay there for as long as you like. For those of us that are closing the practice, we'll softly deepen the breath. Turning your head gently from side to side and giving yourself a big stretch up and overhead. If you are closing your practice in a seat, just taking your time to get there over the next minute or so. As we find our Sukhasana shape, we root down and feel this rebound in the body as the crown lifts to the sky. Turn the palms to face up. Join the thumb and index finger together. And then drop with exhale the seed of awareness deep down inside of the body. We set this intention as we finish this practice today to be in the space of internal listening, reminding ourselves that we have all of the answers within, and just quiet the mind, drop down through all that static and find stillness inside. Bring your hands to touch at the center of the heart in Anjali Mudra, prayer pose. In gratitude for this incredible practice, this opportunity to practice together. I'm so grateful for all of you that have joined me today. Let's all take a huge breath in. We fill, swell the heart space, the space beneath your thumbs, filling up. And then we'll exhale and bow in. Honor this time that you've given yourself on your mat today. Namaste.